Hey, welcome back to ZKMasterTech. First service call of the day is going to be a 9RX 640. And the customer says that when they put the tool in the ground, only the front tracks are turning and have power. Yeah, so they said there's a bunch of stop codes. They said the slip went up to 80%. So I'm on my way. We're going to go check this thing out. We're going to see what stop codes it's got in it, and I guess we'll put the tool in the ground and see what happens. This could get exciting. Here we are. There it is. This is the same tractor I put a water valve in the other day. Okie dokie. Let's see what codes we got. Start there. Well, that's not good. Great. Well, it's definitely not low on oil, that's for sure. All right, so I took this plate off the side here so I could see the drive shaft and the pinion going to the rear axle. Uh-oh. We got wigglage. See that? Mm-hmm. That whole pinion's moving. That ain't good. Great. You can't turn it there. Well, yeah. I know it's hard to see on camera, but you can see that movement plain as day on that pinion bearing. All right, well, with the stop code for the axle lube pressure on there and movement on the pinion, there's definitely something came apart in that rear axle. I don't know if the pinion bearing went out and it sheared all the teeth inside there or what's going on, but our goal now is to try to get them another tractor, bring another tractor to them, and put this one onto a trailer so we can haul it back to the shop, because we're going to have to tear into this rear axle on this tractor, unfortunately. So another shop project. All right, guys, look what just showed up. Another package from Brunt Workwear. Let's see what they sent. Ooh, nice. The Chevlin hoodie. And the all-new Molder 8-inch welted insulated composite toe boots. Now, if you followed me for a while, you already know Brunt keeps me going through harvest. This Chevlin hoodie is heavy, comfortable, and durable. Perfect for those mornings when you don't want a full jacket, but still need real warmth. This is going straight into my shop rotation. And these Molder 8-inch insulated boots, they're built for the cold. They're warm, tough, and supportive. Exactly what you want when you're climbing up a combine at sunrise or wrenching on a 9R out in the wind. Here's the big thing for November. Brunt is dropping limited edition boots and hoodies all month long. Small batch runs, special colors, special builds. And when they're gone, they're gone. Last year, these sold out extremely fast, so keep an eye on their site and their socials. Inventory will be limited. If you're looking for a gift for a hardworking person in your life, or just want to treat yourself, Brunt gear is a guaranteed win. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen. Use my code ZKMasterTech to get $10 off your first purchase. Check out Brunt Workwear and stay ready for those November limited drops. Now let's get back to the action. All right, so my service truck's gone this morning. It's getting serviced right now. I'm gonna get it sometime today, so I'm just staying at the shop and I'm gonna work on the 780. And I figured I could show you guys how to replace a rotor bearing, because I don't know if I've shown that on the channel before or not, but I've had some people wanna know how to do it, so we're gonna do her. So I lay a piece of carpet on the feeder house, and we got all the shields removed. Even got the shield removed right there that protects your grease line and your electrical going to your rotor speed sensor. Okay, get that all out. And then back here, I take a separator grate out right here. And then I open up the concave all the way. And then I put a block of wood in here. Let's see if I can sneak you in here. Okay. And then I turn the rotor to where a threshing element's gonna sit right on that block of wood. I put it in gear so it can't turn. And then I get up in the cab and I raise the concave all the way till it stops. So that's going to help support the rotor. So when we do pull the bearing off the end, the rotor can't drop down, okay? The next step is we want to take the nut off this grease hose right here going to the rotor bearing. Okay, take that off. Alrighty, so the next step, we want to have that feed accelerator loose so it'll turn. We're gonna try out the new Gen 2 Milwaukee Stubby in the 1/2 inch flavor. Milwaukee sent me this free product here, and I'm gonna be testing it out and seeing, you know, what it can do. I thought, well, let's see if it can get these 24mm nuts off. So we got 4 lock nuts holding this plastic cover on. Doesn't struggle at all on those. It's a lot lighter than the mid torque or the high torque, that's for sure. A lot easier to hang on to. So here, this is where your rotor speed sensor goes, right there. So you get that out of your way. The reason why we're replacing this rotor bearing is for preventative maintenance. So at about 1,500 to 2,000 separator hours, I go ahead and I replace the rotor bearing for preventative maintenance. Also, one thing you can do when you're inspecting the combine, you can try to grease this bearing and put a bunch of grease in it and see if you get any grease out the front. So if you're not getting any grease out the front, you might have a seal blown out on the back side of the bearing and the grease is just going out the back. As you can see on this one, there's no grease coming out of the front of this rotor bearing. So that's a sign right there that either it's not being greased enough or the grease is not getting through the bearing and it's just blowing out the seal in the back. Okay. And we got a snap ring right here. Pull that off. Okay. And now we've got a lock, well, there's a washer. Get the washer off. And then we've got this is a tone wheel / lock collar. Okay. And it's got a set screw in it right there. So the set screw is a 5mm Allen. And this procedure is pretty much the same of all rotor combines, you know, from 50 series all the way up through the S series. Pretty much the same tactics here, okay? Okay. So when we go to lock this, we're gonna make sure we lock it counterclockwise. Just like that. Now's the time to go ahead and soak this down. I'm just using PB Blaster. I'm gonna take this grease hose off. It's 1/2 inch. And voila! Here's the true test of the 1/2 inch stubby right here. Let's see if it can get these nuts off. I loosened them like it was nothing. So these are carriage bolts. So that's pretty good. You know, an M12 tool. It's got 550 foot-pounds of breakaway torque. I mean, it's small. Get it in those tight areas. Ooh, I got a little too much pressure on that rotor. Did you see it go up? That's okay. Alrighty. Good. There's no pressure up and down, so we should be able to get it off now. We're gonna spray one more time for good measure. Now, if you're lucky, you can just wedge a couple pry bars back behind the bearing, stick it back there, and pull at the same time, and wiggle it off. Come on, sweetheart. There. Ta-da. So there it is. It's bone dry back here. And that seal's in place. This is the backside seal. This is the seal that I'm talking about. It can pop out and the grease just blows out. Then you get a bunch of dirt in here, and then that bearing ain't gonna hang out for very long after that. But yeah, and it feels okay. I don't feel anything bad, but I don't think that this bearing was greased enough. But anyway, this is preventative maintenance. This is the stuff behind the scenes that nobody sees that we do to try to keep these things from having any breakdowns. So, you know, I have a set amount of hours that, you know, I normally see some bearings go, so I try to replace them before it gets to that point. And the rotor bearing, especially, if this thing goes out, you're done until you get it replaced. So yeah, about 2,000 hours, about as far as I run those. Okay, so I cleaned off the rotor shaft here with some emery cloth, and then you want to make sure you get this shaft centered in that hole. See, if that rotor bearing goes out, the rotor can't drop very far. There's not much gap around this hole. But I had it supported too much and it was lifted up, so I brought it down to where I have a consistent gap all the way around that shaft, right? Because we don't want to bolt that thing on there tight and then it could be rubbing metal to metal on that plate right there, right? So I like to get that rotor shaft perfectly centered in the hole before I put the bearing on. And I got a new bearing here. I already slipped the grease hose on it. That way you know which direction it's got to go. You'd think it'd just slip right on there. It fits kind of tight, which is good. Just like that. You gotta get your bolts started in the holes. You slip her on. Oh yeah. All right, hammer them down. That guy's got some spunk. Just like that. So when I air hammer that tone wheel on there, acts like a lock collar is a cam that locks onto the cam of the inner race of the bearing. So we lock the lock collar to the inner race of the bearing, and then when we set the set screw here, it locks the lock collar to the shaft. So that keeps the bearing, inner race of the bearing, from spinning on the shaft, and it keeps that tone wheel locked into place so we can read the speed. Just like that. Now, we can put this little cover on. Now all I gotta do is put the grease hose back in and put the nut back on it. Hook my sensor back up, and then there's a cover that goes over that. And then we're good to put the feeder house shields on. And all that good jazz. It just got really dark outside and just started pouring rain. Look. Lightning, boomers, everything. Yikes. I'm gonna stay in here. And when you get it all back together, it looks like that. You have that big shield that goes in there, and then you probably can't see it, but there's another shield that I put in underneath there. It goes over the grease hose and the wiring. Yeah. And then the inspection doors sit right here. But I'm not going to put those in just yet. Look at the rainbow. It's a double rainbow. See this one right here? That looks pretty cool. Wow, look how much it rained. Man, it poured. All right, the next task as far as preventative maintenance goes is we're going to replace these chopper bearings. So this year, the beans just took a beating on these combines. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen augers wear so fast. I mean, the beans were, you know, down to 9% moisture, and the stems were super tough, and that the beans being at 9% moisture, being harder and drier, they just wore the augers out, and then the stems and everything just beat the crap out of the residue management system, like the discharge beater bearings, chopper bearings. We had a lot of issues with the chopper jack shafts actually snapping off where the drive pulley is. I mean, it's like a 2-inch shaft and it would shear it off. We had 2 combines that broke the shaft twice. I mean, it's just insane. So this year I'm going to take some extra steps to make sure that we get everything up to snuff for next year. So this one's already had the discharge beater bearings replaced just here recently. That's why it's in the shop. Anyway, so we got the rotor bearing, the cleaning fan bearings have already been done, discharge beater bearings. So now we're going to tackle these chopper bearings, because these go out. Mainly the left side goes out more than the right side does, but we're going to do them both at the same time. Okay, so I got the cover off here. So there's a big plastic cover that goes right there, and this is where our chopper speed sensor is, and then we've got a tone wheel right here. So we're going to get this chopper bearing removed and replaced. It's time to tool up here. Got a 5mm Allen. Set screw. 2 set screws, I forgot. Oh. Would you look at that? All right, now we have a lock collar. If I get this. Now we need to get these set screw marks off of here. It's gonna need some penetrating oil. And again, we're gonna use the 1/2-inch stubby here. And their carriage bolts. Man, this 1/2-inch stubby will get her done. These are pretty big lock nuts. It didn't even care. So the next step is I put a small hydraulic jack right here to support the rotor. A little 4-ton jack from Harbor Freight works pretty good right there. And that'll keep that from falling, and I won't have any pressure on these bolts, so that's just one less thing to fight. Look at that. It's almost like cheating, isn't it? And I'll get a new bearing slit on there. So the reason why people fight these things is they don't get the set screw marks off the shaft, and they don't take the pressure off the bolts. So then you're fighting the resistance of the shaft and the resistance of these threaded bolts at the same time. And it can be really difficult to get those off. Looks like she needs a little tapping. Get the bearing slid on there. What? New lock color. Now that was the easy side. Now this went fairly well. So sometimes those chopper bearings can be stuck on there pretty hard, and you might have to torch them off, cut them, you know, go to aggression level 10, you know. It can't be tight if it's liquid kind of situation. But this went fairly well, but you know, I played my cards right. You clean the shaft real good, lube it up, let that lube set up, get the pressure off the bearing, get the pressure off the bolts, and then pull equal pressure on both sides. You don't want to cock it. I used 2 pry bars to pull equally, and it came right off. All right, now we got to do this side, but it's going to be a little bit more difficult because we have this dual chopper drive that we got to remove. And I just got the belts on. I totally forgot about the chopper bearings, but no big deal. We're going to use my extra long 18mm socket that I custom made, and we're going to see how well the 1/2" stubby does on these. Nice. Let's bring this down a little bit. Let's get these belts out of the way. All right, let's see if I can yank this bolt out. It did it. I was actually kind of impressed with that. You know, these are kind of corroded. So far, the 1/2" stubby has gotten everything off on this combine that I've wanted to so far. Pretty impressive. All right. Yep. See how easy that is to get off? I can NASCAR pit stop those babies out in the field, let me tell you what. Oh, I need to blow this off. Milwaukee M18 precision blower. Freaking awesome. Same thing on this side. All right, threaded a bolt in there. Tried moving it with 2 bars and it was like, nay. Got it. Got the shaft cleaned up. Now I just got to slide a new bearing on. Alright, got the bearing and the lock collar on there. It was a good thing we actually replaced this one because it's kind of crunchy. I don't think it was going to make it another year. Feels crunchy in there. And these are just sealed bearings. Now, the old housings have this plug you can take out, and there's a threaded hole, and I'm pretty sure you should be able to put a grease zerk in there and grease them, but it'd be kind of difficult to get a grease gun in there with that chopper drive in the way anyway. But the new housings don't even have a plug. There's nothing there, so yeah. So I don't know why they did that. Why they just put a plug in there and didn't put a grease zerk. I don't know. But good thing we did this side. Remember I said the left side goes bad first, and that's because it's the drive side and it has all the tension from the belts constantly on it, and that's why those bearings don't last as long. Okay, let's throw this big heavy chopper drive on. What is your deal? There. Now, that was the stubby 1/2 inch. Let's see how fast the mid-torque M18 does. I don't know. We'll have to look at the replay footage and figure out which one was faster. My socket is hot. All right, next project is I'm going to replace this fountain auger right here because it's starting to delaminate on the end and it's getting kind of thin and sharp. And if we have another dry season like we did this year with the beans, it's not going to make it. So it's time to replace this one while we can. We put speed nuts on there. That's nice. All right, so I got all the bolts out of the bearing support here, but we're going to leave this on top here so it gives us an area to put our lifting strap through so we can get this thing trained out of the hole. It's gonna be close. I want to get past that beam. That was a tight fit. All right. You scared me, Ben. What are you doing right there?
I'm just seeing if this is going okay.
It's going okay. It's gonna be close, isn't it, Ben?
Yeah. Maybe boom out.
No. I still have more boom out. Oh man. Can I go up?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm up against it. That's all I've got, Ben. Ah, so close.
Swing left and then go up.
Why left?
Because it pitches up the beam.
And then just go up.
Yeah. A little more left.
A little more left. There we go. Dude. So here we got a used deer auger, and here we have a brand new fountain auger from Sloan Express. Let me show you the difference. So here's the deer. You can see starting to delaminate at the top here. Here is how thick a Sloan Express auger is. I mean, look at that, and it's got that welded reinforcement on the ends. I mean, way thicker, but the thickness stops about right here, and then it goes kind of normal And then they're pretty much the same. Now the Deere does have the welded reinforcement on the ends, but that's not where the auger wears. See, this looks pretty good in here. They wear at the end where they're pushing the pile. So that's where the thickness really matters, is on the end. And this auger right here from Sloan Express is about $600 cheaper than this one. So I'm putting the Sloan Express one in. All right, it's next morning. We got to hit pause on the 780 project for now because I got to go about 2 hours south to go help out a customer. He's a big fan of the YouTube channel, and he messaged me and wanted to see if I could come down and help him out. He called me and said that the shear bolt on the unloading auger drive was shearing, and he put another one in and broke it too. And then I had him pull the first inspection door off to see if the vertical and the horizontal augers hit each other. Yep, they sure did. So more than likely it probably stripped the splines out of the top of the vertical auger. So we're gonna have to drop the vertical auger down, pull all the unload augers out. He said that they've got like 18 or 1900 separator hours on them, which is pretty amazing for those augers to last that long anyway. So yesterday I had to stop this project, and then I loaded up a trailer with the vertical auger tool and 3 horizontal augers on a trailer, and we're gonna drive about 2 hours south. So today's gonna be kind of a long day because we know we're gonna have about 4 hours of driving, and then we got all that work to do. It's an S690. So I've got the truck and trailer all loaded up and ready to go, and it's about 6:13 in the morning. So I got here a little extra early so I could get down there and get started. Oh, here it is. You guys seen me use that thing before. We got the tilt deck loaded down with augers. What a long rig this is. Colby, what did you do? Oh boy. Colby's got turret off. Man, Colby's got parts everywhere. That's the top of the rotor head of that one. Looks like you got one of the separator frame rails out. Yikes. Ooh. Apparently you got to drink a little heavy to get these jobs done. Yep, Looks like you had to get the rotor hood down to get that separator frame rail out. Yikes. Oh, and I found out why the rear discharge housing caught on fire. That's because the tailings auger in the tube where it broke back there, they were rubbing metal on metal and caught on fire back there. He also said it broke a bunch of separator tines off too. Of course, he's got all of them off because you have to pull those off to get the rotor out of there. But yeah, did some damage to this thing. I don't know. We don't know what ran through it, but damaged the flighting, broke the tines off, bent the separator frame rails. All kinds of fun stuff. Well, I think I'm gonna hop in this rig and head down south. Looks like it's 94 miles away. Giddy up. Well, I made it down here. What a jaunt. I brought you some presents.
Thanks.
So those are special edition Farm Progress Show. You can only get those from me, especially the hat. Yeah, check out that first one there.
For sure.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, it is neat.
Check out the back. Let me see the back. Show me that. Keep that green iron moving. And then the other one's just got the standard logo on it. I didn't know what size your dad wears. I assumed you guys were similar size, so I just got extra large. Well, I made it. We got the unload augers unloaded. So I think what we're going to tackle first is just getting the unload augers out of the tube. Well, we got all the unload augers out, and a man basket on a skid steer ain't half bad. Let me tell you, it worked pretty slick. Anyway, you can see where this is our inner auger. Ow. She's a little bent. That hit pretty hard. Look at the vertical. I had to pull it out with the 9-degree gear case because the shaft is permanently welded to the auger at the moment. But look how thick this auger is. And this thing's got 1900 separator hours. But you can see how far this bent down when it hit. But look how thick that is at that many hours. That's pretty impressive. So the flattening will outlast the splines, as you can see. So it is locked up right there. So I do have a new gear case, new vertical. We've got the vertical gear case here all cleaned up, ready to go back in and put a new auger on. We're just gonna grab a bite to eat and then we'll start throwing stuff back together, but everything's going really well. Well, after a long day, I got it done, by golly. We got it done. All new augers, new vertical, new 90. Oh, look at that. It had some corn left in the grain tank. Looks like it's pretty smooth. What do you think? Smoother than before?
Yep. Sounds good. Quiet.
You want to say hi? Hi. Say hi. The boss is here. That's the boss right there.
I think it sounds good.
Good.
Sounds good.
Alrighty, so I made it home about 7 p.m. last night. It was about an hour and 45 minutes drive to my house, and then I drove the truck and trailer here and got that all unloaded and everything. Now we're gonna put the fountain auger into the 780, and then I got to turn around and replace all 3 unload augers on this one to repeat the same job that I just did yesterday. My back hurts.
My fingers hurt.
What's that? Now your back's gonna hurt because you just pulled landscaping duty.
I got Ben and Devin helping me this morning. Ben's a little fired up. He's got the zoomies.
It's Friday. Tomorrow's my birthday.
Yeah, tomorrow's his birthday. Everybody wish Ben a happy birthday. Oh, hey. Pay attention. Focus. Focus. Yeah, the bearing's not aligned, is it? Oh, there it is.
Okay.
Oh, that's nice. You ready? Fingers out of the way.
Yeah.
Coming down.
Thing of beauty. Fall of beauty.
More downer?
Yes, sir.
I didn't know if you wanted me to hold up pressure on it to get bolts in. Okay. Well, now we're just going to get the new carriage bolts in there and get that mounted up. And before we started, we dropped the tube down and we put a new driver on the gear case. You know, it's good practice, put a new driver on new auger.
Nobody likes a tired driver.
Especially your Uber driver.
Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't smell like kimchi.
Are we all bolted in now, Ben?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Going downer. Nice. So, I've already got 2 auger in, got to bolt this second one in, and then we put a third in, and then we got that done. Finally, got the last auger in. I have spent a lot of time in the air in the last 2 days. Hey look, Snap-on showed up, and I bought this heavy-duty digital tire inflator. Been needing a new one of those. Oh, the blue point I won messed up and it's discontinued, so opted to go with the Snap-on one. And I got a free jacket when I bought this. Look at this snazzy thing. Got a flag on it. Really nice jacket. Sweet. So now that the unload augers are done, I finally got this combine done. All I got to do is put the shields on it, take it outside and run it, and then I can get this thing out of here, and then we'll have lots of room for activities to bring in the big projects outside. So excited about getting to something a little bit more interesting than just regular combine repairs. You know, I like to tear apart engines and gear cases and all that fun stuff. So I'm really excited to get on to that. So appreciate you guys watching. If you made it this far, thank you so much. We are so close to 100,000 subscribers. Pretty sure we're going to make it for the end of the year. But if you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing and like the video. It really helps me out. Comment below, let me know how I'm doing. And until next time, keep that green iron moving.